This is a Fox 5 News special honoring Black history.
I'm Pastor Miles McPerson of the Rock Church, and welcome to Honoring Black History as we take a special look at the contributions and accomplishments of African Americans in our country. We begin with a pioneer in science and technology. As we honor Black history, Michaela Singleton spoke with the college president who was breaking glass ceilings throughout the civil rights movement.
This is how it started for Shirley Ann Jackson, and her life has always been going and going and going towards breaking glass ceilings for women and African Americans. The world has changed a lot since Jackson's humble beginnings.
If this pandemic had happened a few decades ago, you and I wouldn't even be able to talk like this.
That's for sure. But that shows you what technology can do.
Dr. Jackson is the president of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute and an accomplished theoretical physicist. She says from the start, her parents always pressed the importance of education.
My mother taught all of us to read, or had us all reading before we entered kindergarten. And then my father was mechanically minded, and he nurtured my specific interests in math and science.
But Jackson's pursuit of education in 1950s Washington, D.C. was not without its hardships.
There was a school that was in walking distance, but we couldn't attend it because it was segregated.
But the civil rights movement and challenges of the age presented new opportunities. She says the Brown versus Board of Education decision and Russia's Sputnik launch were her game changers.
The intense interest in science and math and strengthening the curricula in those areas in the public schools played to my benefit.
Jackson shot to the top of an accelerated class and was later accepted to MIT, one of the only 2 black freshmen. She worked hard to get her bachelor's in physics, but just as she was deciding where to go to graduate school, tragedy struck with the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
I had been a good student, really good one, but I had been quiet. And I felt that, I needed to do something.
She decided to stay at MIT to form the Black Student Union and push for better inclusion and diversity on campus. And so she became Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson, the first black woman to get an MIT doctorate and the second African American in the nation to get one in physics.
And I didn't know and realize the historical significance of it until essentially I'd already done it.
No, young Shirley Ann Jackson never set out to be a pioneer and a role model in the growing world of STEM, but she left MIT to become a leading voice in groundbreaking physics research, the first African-American woman appointed to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in 1994, and RPI's first female and first African-American president in 1999.
I think when one ends up in a position like that, then one is both the recipient of doors that have opened along the way, and one is then opening doors that one hopes and intends to keep open for others to follow.
Her long journey led her back to the White House for her greatest achievement yet in 2016.
One of the bigger moments for you.
It is the biggest.
Today I have the privilege to present our nation's highest honor for scientific and technological achievement, the National Medals of Science.
To be in the White House, to not just stand next to the president, but have him actually put the medal around my neck to do the whole thing. That was, I say, one of the proudest moments of my life.
And while her parents did not live to see everything their daughter achieved, Shirley says she just hopes she's made them proud. In Albany, Michaela Singleton reporting.
It's unusual to see African Americans at the top of the wine-making world. It's an elite club. But several African Americans are making the wine world their own, including a New Yorker who has established the largest black-owned brand of wine in America. Ken Bodie shares with us the story of Andre Mack.
All these wines that are in this room, when you look around, they all tell someone's story. It tells a story about a place, about the people who made it. For me, it's always a legacy.
Andre Mack is living his legacy, creating wines for the masses and leading the way for African Americans in the wine industry. It's not just an upper crust thing for you, is it?
No, not at all. I think everybody should enjoy wine, right? It's not reserved for just the elite. I grew up on, hip hop, skateboarding, punk rock, and being able to put all those things and fuse them together makes it very enjoyable for me.
Andre Mack's New York State of Wine extends all the way across the country. Maison Noir wines are actually produced here in Oregon's Willamette Valley, one of America's premier winemaking regions. Mouton Noir, or Black Sheep wine, started in 2007. Now named Maison Noir, they are shipped to nearly every state and throughout the world, especially popular in Sweden and Southeast Asia. Near his home in Brooklyn, he owns a wine shop, a ham and charcuterie bar, and a bakery. Where do you want to take this in the future? Do you have plans beyond what you're doing right now?
I'm just in a space of like, I want to build things and create stuff.
With a bottle of wine always nearby. Ken Bawdy, Portland, Oregon.
While many young people take years to find their way in life, a young woman is finding her passion in business. As LeBron Joseph shows us, she learned her craft from the ground up.
Do what I want 'cause I'm the one in control.
Thought, tenacity, never give up.
Aggressive.
Passion.
Fashionable.
Those are a few words Joyce and Louis Colin used to describe their daughter, Jade Colin. But another word that fits is businesswoman. Jade had her first experience in business working with friends to open a Smoothie King franchise. And then
I went to college and I majored in accounting. Well, I knew I'm like, this is not, this isn't what I want to do. The classes were really, really hard. I knew business just from working with Smoothie King. So I started working at the McDonald's on campus in college. And at that point in time, my dad was going through the program to become a registered applicant, to become an owner-operator himself.
Jade switched her major to business and graduated from the University of Louisiana. And that experience at the Golden Arches, well, it came in handy. Her parents did become owner-operators, and after college, Jade jumped right in.
As she became more successful at running the McDonald's restaurants that we owned, before we knew it, McDonald's corporate was asking us, has she ever considered becoming a McDonald's owner?
And that she did, becoming one of the youngest McDonald's franchisees in the world. In fact, it's a family business with 6 locations that Jade now runs.
Total employees, like all of the family restaurants?
About 250 employees altogether, yep.
It's a responsibility that Jade understands and takes seriously.
When you're in business, you are over people's livelihood, right? People are looking up to you for really everything, changing mindsets, being able to provide for their families.
As a young community leader, Jade also gives back and serves on local boards, including the Ronald McDonald House. But she also belongs to a generation that links online, and her Instagram page has over 20,000 followers.
I love my social media because I'm able to share that side as well as my personal side. I like to travel. I go out sometimes, so I still I'm able to connect with people on a personal level as well.
Jade Colin's success is no accident. It's the result of a lot of hard work, some good fortune, and a strong personality. But her mother says that as parents, they saw that initiative in their eldest child early on.
3 children, that's 3 different personalities. So Jade always took the lead on a lot of things.
In the end, Jade credits her parents in helping her succeed.
I didn't grow up with a silver spoon. I didn't grow up with this. I had to work for it. And that was my mom and my dad helped pushing me to drive me to be successful. I didn't do it by myself.
And those combined efforts are obviously paying off.
Thank you so much, sir. You have a great day. Come back and see us, okay? Thank you.
In New Orleans, LBJ reporting.
We're just getting started honoring Black history. Coming up, at just 10 years old, he was cutting and sewing at the family dinner table. Now, as a young adult, he's styling the stars with his bow ties, his story of success. And an NFL player who walks away from the game to follow his true calling.
Now return to Honoring Black History.
I'm Pastor Miles McPherson. We want to introduce to you a young entrepreneur focused on growing his business and helping other young kids to do the same. He started his own company because he wanted to look and feel good about himself. As we honor Black history, Stephanie Scarlock shows us how this remarkable young man is sharing his success and making his own mark in America.
The classic black and brown bow ties.
Those are the NBA prints, some of the NBA prints in the MLK 50.
No longer rule the day.
I love, different colors on one bow tie. Some of the African prints.
Memphis, Tennessee teenager Mosiah Bridges says it's all about expressing yourself through your neckwear.
That's my goal, to really have different prints and patterns that pop out at you that, you can't make a decision at the checkout line.
Mosiah owns Mo's Bows handcrafted bow ties, and at 19 years old, his business has already taken him around the world and back a few times. Former Presidents Obama and Bush headline his Wall of Fame, along with a dozen or so other famous people.
When we started out on this bow tie journey, I like to say, I was thinking, Mo was 9, so I'm thinking lemonade stand at best.
We first met this sharp-dressed kid at 10 years old. He was cutting and sewing at the family dinner table like his grandmother taught him.
I just want something I never seen before. Something that speaks to me.
A trip to his elementary classroom revealed his bow tie vibe was catching on.
I'd send him to school with a bow tie. He'd come home with no bow tie. And what happened to your bow tie? I sold it. Oh, good. For a bag of chips. Or I traded it for rocks. So, but at the same time, he saw the value in his product. So once it started making money, I think I said quickly, Mo could be my boss. and then that's what happened. At 9 years old, my boss was my son.
This savvy grade school entrepreneur landed on the Steve Harvey Show, then Shark Tank. He made the glossy pages of style magazines. At 13, the NBA even hired him as a fashion correspondent for Draft Day. 2 years later, he got a licensing deal with them.
It's been great to have so many mentors. Of course, I have Obama and Damon John. He's been a great mentor from Shark Tank, and I always say that he gives me great advice.
Mo realizes the importance mentors have played in his success, so that's why he and his mother plan to help other kidpreneurs reach their dreams. They started Mo's Bows Foundation, where Mo and his mother help other children grow talents into businesses.
I thought, I've done it with Mo, and it's proven to be pretty good. So I just wanted to use the resources that we've made over the years and help and invest in other children.
Mo recently opened his first retail establishment.
You want to go with this? Yeah, okay.
During the pandemic, he added swanky masks to his inventory, coordinating them with his bow ties. His goal, a clothing line and more retail shops.
I eventually want to have different stores around the world that different little boys like me can, of course, run and take care of. It's basically a thing where if we can't leave something behind, or if we can't help someone else achieve what I have achieved, then there's no point in this at all.
Mo's Bows keeps growing, and so do Mo's dreams, not just for himself, but for others. In Memphis, Stephanie Skurlock reporting.
Coming up on Honoring Black History, the sweet taste of success. One woman's sweet treats turned into a booming business, and how it started right in her home, and how she's trying to be a role model to others. And from athlete to artist, how one man gave up his NFL career to help paint a better picture for African American youth. I'm Pastor Miles McPherson. One man gave up his NFL career to follow what he says was his true calling, educating and empowering the youth in African American communities. Amanda Lee introduces us to Aaron Mabin and his journey from linebacker to activist.
Aaron Mabin was born, raised, and to this day lives in Baltimore.
I just want to see, the city be a city that the world loves as much as I do.
Before settling down in Baltimore, he first had to leave. Blessed with exceptional talent, Aaron landed at Penn State University, where he excelled on the field. But just years after his selection as an NFL first-round draft pick, he made a stunning decision.
From a very early age, I saw myself as way more than an athlete.
He traded in his helmet and cleats for paintbrushes and a fresh canvas with no regrets.
I said if I were to drop dead tomorrow, and the greatest thing somebody could say about me was that, he was a damn good football player. then I wasted a lot of time in my life.
Aaron's true life's calling was just beginning.
You talk about reforming or changing any society, it starts with the youth. It starts with the investment that we're making in our youth.
Mabin started the Project Mayhem Foundation more than a decade ago with a simple mission to help underprivileged and at-risk youth excel.
You know, some of my students are, you know, not even in 3rd or 4th grade, but they're in charge of getting 4 or 5 of their younger siblings to school every day. You know, when you're walking through the projects, you're walking through open air drug markets, you know, at the crack of dawn, you know, people get robbed, people get shot, people get stabbed. It happens every day.
He works directly with children, educating, inspiring, and showing young Black children their value is endless through art.
I'm intelligent. I am a listener. I am a learner. I am beautiful.
It's an opportunity he's never taken for granted.
Until I saw, you know, an educator that looked like me, I didn't think that they existed. Not that you're ignorant enough to think that it couldn't exist, but you don't know what it looks like.
Aaron's artistic tapestry has expanded beyond boundaries of Baltimore, his workbooks being taught in more than 24 school districts across the country.
And I always wanted my work to be something that little kids that, you know, grew up where I grew up, that looked like me, saw themselves reflected in, saw their complexions, saw their hairstyles, saw their history reflected back at them.
And his work extends beyond his own foundation.
What's the day been like for you guys today? Very cold. You guys are cold.
The wildly successful Operation Heat fundraiser raised more than $82,000 to help warm Baltimore's classrooms.
So many of the parts of our educational process invalidate our kids' livelihood, invalidate their lived experiences, and it invalidates their humanity.
Coming up on Honoring Black History, a booming bakery business. One woman shows us how she turned her passion into sweet success. I'm Pastor Miles McPherson, and we're happy you're with us. Allow me to share with you how a young pastry chef in Brooklyn, New York, is mixing her love of baking and a keen sense of business to create a unique virtual business. Keith Kuntz tells us this savvy businesswoman is inspiring others to pursue their dreams.
It's a taste of success, making life for Azarias Bellamy sweeter by the day. How did you know when it was just right?
When people were like, oh my God, can I have some more?
More blondies, that is. From her home in Brooklyn, New York, Bellamy launched her company, Blondery by Azarias, during the holiday season in 2017. Her recipe, 10 years in perfecting and taste testing at family gatherings over several years until it was just right.
It has a salted caramel ganache on top of a chocolate chip blondie, and then it has a little bit of pink Himalayan sea salt and some toasted pecans. So it's very soft, it's crunchy, it's kind of gooey because of the caramel ganache, and it's perfectly balanced. I like to think it's perfectly balanced because it's sweet and it's salty.
Her success not really much of a surprise. Baking and business seemed to be in her DNA. She grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, where her family owned several barbecue restaurants.
It looked like they were having a lot of fun. So that's all I kind of knew for a long time was entrepreneurship and owning your own.
Her passion for baking took her to the prestigious Johnson & Wales University in Rhode Island, where many of the world's top chefs have perfected their craft, and then on to an internship at a top pastry school in France.
Blondery by Azarias is the epitome of a 21st century business. No brick and mortar store for this pastry chef, with the vast majority of her sales coming online. And using social media to get the word out about her products is a big part of her success.
Today I'm going to show you the difference between a blondie and a brownie.
Azarias has her own YouTube channel where she dishes to followers about what it takes to run a business, along with baking tips and her latest sweet creations.
For a brownie or a blondie, you kind of want as less gluten as possible.
Another one of her priorities being a role model to other women and people of color who are looking to step out on their own in the culinary world.
Is to provide a safe space for people of color or people who are notoriously marginalized within the food industry to just create and be safe and make money doing so.
Making a difference and adding a touch of sweetness to life, one blondie at a time. In Brooklyn, New York, Keith Kuntz reporting.
I'm Pastor Miles McPerson. Thank you for joining us for a look at some of the accomplishments and impact African Americans have had on our country in our special Honoring Black History.